Welcome into another edition of That's Deep. I'm Tommy Z, joined as always by Johnny Bravo. Coming off a beautiful card last week. I mean, if you watched this show last week, I got to say it was hard to miss. Just pretty spot on all the way around. It was a great day. And, we had the NFL going on too, so tied some stuff into the NFL, which was great. But, we move on. We've got the UFC Noche card here. Johnny, how you feeling coming off of that card last week?
Feeling good. Great card. A lot of finishes. Won a lot of bets, won a lot of money. And, new UFC Noche. Big combat weekend ahead. And, ready to go.
Hell yeah. Yeah, we got a lot going on. We've got the NFL tomorrow. We've got NASCAR tomorrow as well, Xfinity race. We got a trucks race on Friday, I believe. And then we've got the NASCAR Cup Series along with the NFL, college football. So, yeah, we got a lot going on. And
Canelo versus Crawford.
Yes, Canelo versus
Noche.
Crawford as well. Great. That's a great fight. Looking forward to that one. So, yeah, we got a lot going on. It's going to be a busy weekend. So, tune in, Duke the House. NTH Sports Picks is the new YouTube page. So tune in. We'll be live all weekend. It's going to be a good day. But we're here to break down the fights, and let's just jump right into it. Let's get this thing rolling. Our first fight on the card. We've got the tough finale that we were supposed to get, I don't know, about a month ago has been moved, and now here we are. We got Rodrigo Cinzanato taking on Daniil Doncheco. We already broke this one down, but, it was a few weeks ago, so might as well get back into it. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, tough finale, pushed back. I guess Rodrigo had an injury, so they pushed it back here to the Noche card. And, pretty much my opinion hasn't changed. I think, Rodrigo's going to want to go for takedowns. He's going to want to get his wrestling going. I mean, he has decent pop in his hands. But, the majority of what we've seen in the Tough House is he wants to wrestle, and cardio isn't the greatest. Seen him fade later on in fights and pretty much just hang on to win. And, Doncheco pretty much, Daniil ran through everybody in the house. He was getting finishes in there. He looked good in the house. Good striking. Guy has good power, decent takedown defense. So you kind of see him get taken down, but he kind of pops right back up, which is good. I think eventually Doncheco probably finds the button and knocks him out. But I'm picking him to win here. It could be a decision. I could see a decision. Rodrigo seems pretty tough, but I can see him gassing later on in the fight and just getting overwhelmed from this guy's power. So, but we've seen the last tough, Alibi looked like a world beater in the house and absolutely got dominated by Morales in that finale. So, yeah. So, I mean, I'm sticking with my initial pick. I like Daniil, and Yeah,
I mean, I kind of tend to agree. I think it could be competitive if he gets the takedowns going. It could be interesting, but I mean, the power here, the takedown defense for Doncheco, it seems to check out. So, two guys making their debut. Going to be a lot of butterflies, a lot of adrenaline. So we could see adrenaline dump, which we saw in that first the tough finale. Alibi just fell off a cliff. He just looked like he had a couple roadblocks in that fight, and he just didn't want to be there anymore. So you never really know what you're going to get with these guys, but I tend to agree. I think Doncheco probably is going to put enough damage out there to get the job done. All right, moving right along here. Got to say, the UFC not doing these fighters any favors with the pictures. We got Montserrat Rendon taking on Alex Pereira. Rendon, we've seen her in the UFC for a little bit. She's had a few fights. Solid, pretty solid overall. Pretty technical boxing, not great striking, but she's she holds her own on the feet. Taking on Pereira here, making her debut, who looks to be a very good kickboxer. She's got pretty good size. It's just kind of explosive fighter, but again, debuting here. So you never truly know what you're going to get when they hit the big stage. But what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this is kind of a weird one. Alice Pereira, I thought it was Alex Pereira's sister, but it
Yeah,
turned out it
her name's
wasn't.
Aileen. I looked that up too.
Aileen, yeah, I thought it was too. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah,
She's making her debut on Noche, and then I looked
yeah,
into it more, and it's Alice Pereira. She's 19 years old. They signed her. I mean, she didn't even have to go through like a contender series fight or anything.
pretty
It's kind of
crazy.
weird. 19 years old, making your debut here on kind of a big card is it's kind of a strange. Maybe they're trying to set this girl up. There really isn't much tape of this girl. You see her. She's from what you see. I mean, she looks like a pretty dynamic striker. Looks pretty fast. Good striking. Yeah, but she's fighting cans, in Brazil. So really, really tough to get a read on this girl. She's 19. It's a tough one, And Rendon is, I mean, I think she's pretty terrible. I don't think she's any good at all. I think the striking is dreadful, and her game plan here is going to be probably to go for takedowns and get takedowns and get some control time. She doesn't land a lot of damage.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a tough one. Debuting 19-year-old coming in here. I really don't have a good read on this one. A lot of money's been coming in on Rendon. A lot of money came in. I've seen Pereira. She was like minus 175, and now she's down to minus 140. So some Rendon money's been coming in. So it's really just a lot of unknowns here. I really don't know what to expect, but I think Pereira should. I mean, if it's on the feet, I think she should be able to win. I mean, their striking, from what I've seen, looks pretty good. So
Does look good.
yeah, I'm gonna lean that she's able to keep it on the feet, and yeah, low confidence. I'll pick Pereira, but yeah, very low confidence. Don't know what to expect. Low level women's MMA. You really,
I'm
really,
in the same boat. I don't have a lot of confidence in this fight either. I'm gonna go. I'll be on the opposite side. I think Rendon, with her grappling, may be able to get this one done. She's got a little bit more experience. Her striking's not great, but she is technically sound. I mean, she does okay in the pocket. She doesn't take massive damage. She throws pretty decent combination. She's not great. She's not a great striker, but she's fundamentally she's okay. She's solid. So I think she would be able to weather a storm. I think if she gets the grappling going, I guess the big question here for me is if she can get the grappling going. And if she can, I do think she probably has the advantage. So I'm going to go ahead and just go with the experienced fighter, a little bit older, has the grappling upside. So I'm going to take the shot here with Rendon. But again, I'm with you, man. I don't think I'm not very confident. Pereira could just come in here and just spark her. It wouldn't shock me. But debuting in the UFC is tough. We see a lot of debuting fighters lose. 19 years old, it's a big stage. Maybe 19, she's doesn't know what she doesn't know, so she just comes in.
But you got to think the UFC like want her to succeed. If they're signing her at 19 and bringing it in here, they're going to put her up against the easiest matchup they can find, and I think that's Rendon. I think.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I honestly, I don't know why they would do it like this. I feel like I don't know. She could fight on the contender series. Beat somebody on that and look good and get a little rub from that. But yeah, it's kind of strange. It's kind of strange to see them doing it like this, and maybe it's because she really is that good. And I get this one wrong, but yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it's tough. It's a tough spot making your debut. fighting somebody who wants to grapple when you're a pretty much primarily striker. I mean, I did see Pereira. She had some
I did see
success.
her go for takedowns though, and
Yeah,
some
I
of it
did
she
see
had
her have
some
some
good take.
success in the grappling. She is long. She's,
Yeah,
so maybe she's got that in the back pocket where she can. Maybe she's not a great grappler, but she's got the size, and she's aggressive enough and scrambles enough to get the job done. But I kind of just I got to see it. I want to see it first, so I'm gonna roll with Rendon here, and I mean I'm probably not gonna have any money on this fight. Um, we'll just see. For the purpose of the show, I think I'm gonna take Rendon. But yeah, I mean this is one of those ones where there's a lot of question marks, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean we'll play it out. And yeah, not gonna have much on this one, if anything at all. But yeah, we'll move on. Next fight here, we've got they've got no picture. Man, this is crazy. We got Alessandro Costa taking on Alden Correa. Correa is making his debut. Costa is a guy that I kind of like. I mean, I kind of like the game overall. He's lost to a couple tough guys in the UFC, but he's pretty aggressive. He's got solid kicks, works the body. Overall, pretty good game. And again, he's taking on a debuting fighter here, so there's some question marks with this one. But what are your thoughts here?
yeah, I like Costa. I think he's a pretty decent fighter. He's fought some tough competition in the UFC, took a couple L's, got a couple of wins. Yeah, really compact, kind of stocky guy. Good boxing, big power in his hands. Grappling if he needs it. BJJ black belt. So yeah, I mean the guy's pretty decently well rounded. I like what I see from him, and I'm kind of a Costa backer. I've backed him before. He's let me down, but he's paid me out before. And yeah, I think this is. I mean, Correa here is. I really don't know what to expect because the level of competition is just so bad. I mean, on tape, I mean, like, he looks pretty decent. Like he's a decent prospect. He looks okay, but the competition is just so dreadful. So it's hard to really get another one where it's hard to really get a good read. I mean, Costa's the biggest favorite here on the card. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Correa is he kind of seems like he has some potential, and he could be good. I kind of like what I've seen on tape, but I just think Costa's just going to be. This is short notice call up. Costa's been training to be on the card. I just think this is just a little too much, little too soon for this kid. Maybe he needed another guy that probably needed a contender series fight to get here. But yeah, they're throwing him into the fire against this guy. I think he probably eventually catches him and puts him away here at some point. Yeah, I like Costa, and yeah, I'll definitely be betting him in some way, form, or fashion, whether it's in a parlay with something else or maybe take a shot on the inside the distance.
Yeah, I agree. When I was looking at the card, I was in my head, I was thinking, I think I like this Costa kid. Then I went back and I looked at my notes, and all the notes that I had on him were pretty positive. I know he's lost a couple of fights, but lost to Ursag, he lost to Albazi.
Two tough guys. I mean,
yeah,
you can't really. Can you really knock them for that? Not really.
Yeah, exactly. Like high level guys. So basically, everything I had written down on him, skill wise, I've always been pretty high on the kid, and in this spot here, I think he's probably a pretty good parlay piece. I think he's a really good fighter, and I think he's got a lot of upside. And fighting a guy making his debut on short notice, it seems like a spot where he can just push the pace, work the body, find that finish. Maybe late second, third round. Could be sooner too. I mean, the kid's definitely he packs a punch, and he's got pretty nasty ground and pound. He's overall pretty well rounded. So I mean, you look at his losses; they're not the worst in the world. You know, he's losing to top guys. So yeah, I like Costa here. I think he's a solid parlay piece. I will definitely have him tied to some stuff going into the weekend. And yeah, I think he gets the job done here. All right, moving right along. We've got a couple guys that I do not really like. Got Zachary Reese taking on Cedric Dumas. Dumas, you know, this dude's got, I think he's got more arrests than he's got wins in his career. Taking on Zachary Reese, who's a big, powerful guy, explosive, cardio, you know, not the greatest. But, I mean, if you've ever watched this show, if you've been watching the show for a long time, you know I'm not a big Cedric Dumas fan. So, you know, for me personally, I have to go with Zachary Reese here. But what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this is kind of a trash can fight. I mean, Cedric Dumas, I mean, the guy's just can't seem to make it. He's always in trouble, you know, which is, people go through their shit, and it is what it is. But when you're allegedly putting hands on women, that's never a good thing.
No.
And, you're hiding in dog crates from the cops and getting caught, and just all kind of like shit you don't want to see from a fighter,
Yeah.
And, he's been pretty terrible since coming to the UFC, so it's like, the tape before he came in, I mean, he looked like a pretty dynamic striker, good striker, and then, the Contender Series, he has a pretty good submission win, and, he's come into the UFC and he hasn't really showed anything. I mean, he's pretty much turned into kind of a grappler. I mean, the volume is low on the feet, and, it seems like he seems like he's been wanting to wrestle a lot. I don't know if it's just the matchups or what's going on, but yeah, he's just looked totally dreadful. All the stuff going on, and then he tweeted out he has $13 in his bank account from all his legal fees. So I don't know if that's going to motivate him, or is he just coming in here for a check? I'm not a fan of the guy. I don't like his fighting style. He's just he's just like a guy. I don't know. I'm just not a fan of the guy. And Zach Reese is kind of the big flake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This guy, he come in highly talented and he has no fucking chin. Pretty much no chin. The durability is low. But I mean, he does have power in his hands. I think before the Medina fight, who we're going to talk about later, I don't think he ever got out of round one. He was all violence.
Yeah.
And there was questions on the cardio, but when you're, going up against the punching bag, how really can we really see how your cardio checks out? You know what I mean? So this is just, I don't know. I guess Reese probably by finish maybe, but it's another one where it's like I'm not really too excited to bet on. So yeah, pick for me is Reese and probably Reese by finish. But yeah, I don't like either one of these guys.
Yeah, same way. I mean, if I'm betting Reese, I'm betting him by finish. He's got the upside to finish. I mean, Dumas, we've seen him fight quite a bit. He hasn't really shown us anything at this level. I mean, he's got the win over Cody Brundage, where Cody Brundage just pulled Gilly for 3 straight rounds and got stuck on the bottom. Pretty pathetic fight there. Yeah, I just haven't seen anything from Dumas to say that he's gonna find too many wins in the UFC. The guy's lost. His personal life is awful. It's actually kind of shocking that he's fighting in the UFC.
I can't believe they haven't cut him yet after all of these allegations and all.
Yeah, all the allegations. He's been arrested.
And then they had him signed for a fight, and then he couldn't make it because he had an ankle monitor on. So It's like you'd think the UFC would have had enough of this guy already. And he ain't exciting. He ain't like selling tickets. Not. He ain't.
No,
So I don't even know why he's here.
Yeah, I agree. But again, matched up against Reese, Reese is a guy that, he's got some power. He's, he's a big, strong guy, but he's very susceptible. So, maybe Dumas can pull something out.
It
But
wouldn't surprise me if Dumas somehow touched his chin and this guy fell over. It would
yeah,
not surprise me. This
yeah,
guy has
it's
no chin.
possible. It's possible. I mean, I think both guys are susceptible to getting finished. You know, give me Reese. I think I think overall Reese is the better fighter. He's I guess you could say the more trustworthy guy of the two. But yeah, I mean, not excited about this one. Maybe bet the unders overall. But yeah, I think if I did bet Reese, I'd probably bet him by finish. And he's capable of finishing it this fight early. So, we'll see. But not a great one. All right, our next fight. This one's kind of interesting here. We got Jesus Aguilar taking on Luis Guriel. Flyweight fight. Aguilar, very, very dangerous submission guy. He's got a very good guillotine. We saw that in his last fight. He was a pretty sizable underdog. Pulled that one off with the guillotine in the first round. Guriel, I mean, he looks pretty solid. I mean, he scrambles pretty well. He's a little bit sloppy with his striking, but he does have pretty decent striking. He's a high-paced guy. He's composed. Coming off a knockout loss to Ode Osborne. But, Ode Osborne's he's a pretty talented kid. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I was a fan of Brule coming into the UFC when he came in. I was high on him against Ode Osborne, and he kind of let me down in that fight. I mean, but Ode's kind of one of these tricky vets that has power in his hands, and if you're not ready, he'll turn your lights off real quick. As we've seen, he put up a hell of a fight against Urseg in their fight. So, I don't really hold that. It's a tough debut coming in with the Ode fight. So, he looked pretty good on the Contender Series. He was able to, stuff some takedowns, get taken down, get back up. Really good, pocket boxing. Kind of a short, stocky guy, has a lot of power in his hands. Decent volume. He's well rounded. He's got wrestling too in his back pocket if he needs it. So yeah, he's pretty decently well rounded. I was high on him before, and I still am high on him, but just comes down a little bit after the Ode fight. But yeah, Jesus Aguilar is just, I mean, he's kind of a two-trick pony, like you said. He will pull Gilly, which he's pretty good at getting that Gilly, but he will pull Gilly and put himself on bottom. And he pretty much ultimately, once he gets down there, he has no get-up game. So that's a concern. You never want to bet, with the wrestling that Grule has. I mean, if this guy pulls Gilly and doesn't get it, then he's pretty much stuck on the bottom for the remainder of the round. And in the striking department, it's pretty rudimentary, pretty basic. He's got that big overhand right with the big power that he put Shannon Ross out with. So yeah, the striking is not the greatest. Very low volume. Just has that big, powerful overhand right and that Gilly. So I just think if Grule is on his P's and Q's here, he should pretty easily win this one. So yeah,
I agree.
And
I don't think Aguilar is really a power threat. I mean, yeah, he knocked out Shannon Ross, but I mean, going into that fight, I was like, this guy's got pillow hands. He's not. He
never had a knockout until that fight. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. Right. And then Shannon Ross, he's been knocked out like 3 times since then. So I don't know how much I want to put into that. So yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty much he's gonna have to pull something out submission wise, or he's pretty much gonna get worked this whole fight. So yeah, Goulet for me. The sub, it's always scary when you have a guy that can just pull a sub out of nowhere. But
yeah,
I think Goulet his scrambling ability is pretty good. He's very composed. That's one thing I liked about him. I thought that on the Contender Series, he was fighting a D1 wrestler there. He was getting taken down, but he was continuously getting up, and never panicked, never looked out of place in that fight. So yeah, I think overall, I mean, outside of a crazy submission, I think Gourlay probably rolls in this one.
Yeah.
All right, moving right along here. We've got Tatiana Suarez taking on Amanda Lemos, two former title challengers. Suarez, strong grappler. You know, that's kind of been her bread and butter her whole career. You know, Olympic wrestler. Obviously, pretty disappointing showing in that fight against Wei Li. But when you look at Wei Li, you know, it's not the craziest thing. Wei Li's a great grappler. She's just an overall great fighter, and now she's fighting for the belt up a division. Amanda Lemos, you know, she's got some power. She's pretty tough overall. She's had some great moments in the UFC, but she's also had some pretty big struggles with grapplers. Do we think Suarez rights the ship here? Is she gonna get back on track, or is she fading out? What are your thoughts here?
I don't know. This is kind of a weird one for me. I mean, look at the placement of this fight on the card. I mean, it's so low. I mean, you would think two former title challengers would at least be on the main card, and you know what I mean? This is on the on the prelims. Like this is kind of interesting, you know, and it's an interesting matchup. You know, we've seen, you know, Tatiana in her last fight. I mean, it showed if she can't get her grappling going, you know, Wei Li was able to pretty much stuff all of the takedowns and besides round one and pretty much stuff the takedowns and just pieced her up and, you know, pretty much like destroyed her on the feet and just, you know, the striking is not great. You know, if she's not getting her grappling going, then, you know, she's in big trouble here. And but I don't know how much trouble. Well, I mean, Lemos has a lot of power in her hands. She's not the highest kind of output kind of girl, you know. So she's kind of low volume. She has, you know, power in her hands. To the takedown defense is not the greatest. We've seen her taken down and controlled by, you know, I think Wei Li took her down in the championship fight and just took her down and dominated her there on the ground. And we've seen it before. She pretty much accepts once you get her down there, she pretty much accepts, you know, bottom position, you know, but she does have some submissions on her belt. We've seen her get those front chokes before, and she's pulled off some pretty crazy submissions, pretty much standing stuff, which is kind of weird, you know. So she has that. She has power in her hands. If she can keep it on the feet, I mean, she's gonna probably destroy and finish Suarez. But I don't think I don't know. I think Suarez wins. Initially, I thought she would dominate, but it's a lot of things going into this. You know, it's kind of a weird one. You know, it's this maybe Suarez just completely dust now. I mean, she's been through a lot in her career. You know, she beat cancer a couple times. She had that long layoff. She came back. She didn't fight the greatest of competition coming back, and then she got, you know, catapulted into that championship spot, you know, and she kind of, you know, does that just, you know, everybody's been talking about her being a champion for so long. Does that just drain all of her confidence and kind of just like, you know, it's kind of hard what to expect mentally from her, you know what I mean? But a good thing is that with Wei Li going up and vacating the title and Dern now fighting Verna for the belt, that, I mean, this could be a number one contenders fight if we think about it. You know what I mean? So could see her maybe getting back in the picture that way if she gets a pretty good win here. So yeah, I like Tati to get the job done, but the money line is not appealing and minus 470, and you pretty much gotta figure out how she's gonna do it. I don't know. The sub was like plus 160. Inside the distance was like plus 110. So, I mean, I don't know. Can Lemos survive on the bottom is the real question. I'm not sure. I don't know. This one I need to kind of think over a little bit. I've been kind of plotting on this one for the past couple of days, and I'm not sure how I want to attack it or approach it. Maybe
Yeah, I was kind of hesitant because, I mean, it does.
Initially, I thought I would be firing on Suarez inside the distance and all that, but kind of looking into it, it's kind of like,
yeah,
I don't know.
I think the difference for me, when you really go back and look at Lemos's losses, when she does fight women who
Grappler.
can really grapple, like, she beat Mackenzie Dern, but Mackenzie Dern does not
Dern's
have
not really a
strength.
grappler. She's not
Right.
really a strong grappler.
When it's on the ground, she's a real problem, but she's not great at getting it to the ground. Verna was able to get her to the ground, no problem. There's a few fights where she fought wrestlers who had strong takedowns, and it just did not go well for her. I mean, Suarez has that. On the feet, she's really got nothing for her. I think Suarez on the feet is susceptible to getting knocked out by quite a few strikers. She's just not a great striker. She's not good on the feet. She's tough. She can take a shot, but if Lemos could keep it standing, I think Lemos is more than live in this fight. I just think Suarez, she knows what her bread and butter is. She's got the wrestling chops to get the fight to the ground. I think if she sells out for the takedown, she probably finds a submission at some point. So I have to go with Suarez. The money line's absolutely crazy. I really think this fight's much more competitive than the line would show.
Say like 260 Suarez, maybe.
Yeah, that would make a lot more. That would be fine. But yeah, I like Suarez. I think she wins. I do think she gets a bounce back here. Weili is the truth. She's really good. She's got grappling. She's got good takedown defense. She's unreal. Her striking's good. Very good, well-rounded fighter. Suarez, for somebody who was pretty inactive, not really fighting the toughest of competition to get to that spot, it's a pretty big ask. And Weili showed that she was just levels above. But I think in this matchup, I think Suarez can get the takedowns. And if she does, I think she probably has her way here and finds her way to a submission. So I'll take Suarez. I kind of like the inside the distance look. I think she can finish her. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, if she stuffs a couple takedowns, maybe a live bet on Lemos is the play. So we shall see. But for now, yeah, I think Suarez has the wrestling chops to get it done. I think she can get her to the ground, and that's going to be what she needs. All right, moving right along. Our next fight on the card here is in the lightweight division. We got Claudio Puelles taking on Joaquim Silva. And, these guys are, kind of similar. Both have some skills. Puelles is more of a grappler, throws up some good submissions, relatively low volume. Silva's a guy pretty well-rounded. Neto BJJ is his nickname. He's known for his jiu-jitsu, but, we've seen a lot of his striking. I think recently, he's shown some improved cardio. It's kind of post-USADA stuff, so who knows? But what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I forgot all about Claudio Puelles. I thought maybe he retired or just quit or something. Because I'm not a fan of the guy. I don't know. He's been gone for 2 years. I mean, hopefully he was working on his game and his striking, because his striking is an absolute zero.
Yeah.
The takedowns aren't great. The guy's pretty much a leg lock merchant. He's going to roll for your leg. He's going to dive on your leg and kind of just try to get you in a knee bar. That's pretty much his game plan. I mean, he's got nothing to offer on the feet. The wrestling's not good. He's a strictly BJJ guy. He's going to roll for your leg. He's going to in a Mari roll and try to get you down that way and find a positioning. Once he does get on top and gets his positioning, he's pretty good on the ground if he can get it there. But if someone's not taking it there with him, then on the feet he's pretty much has nothing to offer. And the cardio's not the greatest, but he's been away for 2 years, so maybe you would think he would be working on, wonder why he was gone for so long. Was it injuries? Was it just working on his game? Because yeah, it's kind of weird. He's been gone for so long. Yeah, and then Silva is kind of just like a guy, just like not very trustworthy kind of guy, but he's a good striker. He has good power in his hands. I mean, Neto BJJ, but doesn't really sub anybody, so doesn't really use his grappling. Primarily, just wants to strike. And if he can, I mean, avoid getting leg locked to the ground, then I think if he keeps it on the feet, I think he can. I think he can find something here on Puelles. I like Silva here, and I'm going to go out and say Silva knocks him out in round 2.
Nice.
Pretty confidently. Yeah, not confidently, but I'm going to predict probably round 2 knockout here.
Yeah, I can see it.
But
I mean,
a lot of unknowns with Puelles being gone for 2 years. You don't really know.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, he is a BJJ guy. He's probably doing seminars. He's probably making money on the side. I mean, that's a big moneymaker for high-level jiu-jitsu guys. So, maybe, money's probably not a factor for him, just with what he can make in the BJJ, world. So it could be something like that. He's just off doing seminars, just making money on the weekends, and who knows? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, Silva, to me, I mean, he looks like a guy that's, he's definitely taking his vitamins. And his cardio has looked massively improved. And, you go back to that Puelles fight with Dan Hooker, and, he had Dan Hooker's legs. He was, looked like he could have had a submission there, but Dan Hooker was kind of just like laughing at him. Like, what are you doing down there? What do you think you're going to get?
He was actually favored over Dan Hooker.
Yeah.
Which was pretty crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was on Hooker in that fight. I just didn't think, and that worked out great. And yeah, I mean, Hooker just looked like, nothing was really phasing him in that one. And I've always had that image in my head of, I mean, Dan was, it really was like kind of laughing, and like, it was kind of a weird fight to watch. But yeah, I think Silva's got the chops on the ground. I think he's definitely got a massive advantage on the feet. So if he just, I mean, he's the bigger and stronger of the two. I think if he just avoids, just anything getting stuck in a crazy leg lock, which, I mean, that can happen in seconds. It doesn't take much to grab a leg lock. But if you're grabbing for leg locks and it's not working out, you're generally getting punched in the face. So that's not great. So yeah, I think Silva probably just avoids those exchanges and puts the damage on him and eventually gets him out of there. So I'm right there with you. I think that second round knockout's kind of a good look. But yeah, I think Silva gets it done here and just has to avoid something crazy. That's really all it is. All right, our next fight. We just talked about him. We got Jose Medina taking on Dusko Todorovic in a middleweight bout. Medina, we know, is basically a punching bag with chin of granite, although we saw that chin get cracked in the last fight, and he actually did get finished. Taking on Todorovic here, who's, not a chin of granite. He's a guy that he's been knocked out a few times, and he kind of puts his chin up in the air, and it's there to be hit quite often. But we have seen Todorovic wrestle a lot more in the last few fights. Medina, his takedown defense is not great. These are two guys that I can't really say I have confidence in either one of them. But what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this is kind of like a meme fight. I don't know. This is the drunk Theo at the cookout that wants to fight everybody. And yeah, this guy's a walking walking punching bag. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
He's low volume. He's got no power. We haven't seen any power from him. Low level. I don't know why Dana gave this guy. Dana pretty much gave this guy a contract for taking an absolute drubbing by some dude that's not even that good. That Gaziuzulov guy, I think.
Yep.
So yeah, that guy sucks, and he put a drubbing on this guy. The fight probably should have been stopped. And, this guy's getting beat on, and Dana's over there standing up, clapping like, great God, yeah. Dude was getting absolutely destroyed and pummeled. So,
Yes.
I don't know. They gave him a contract, I guess, sympathy contract, and since coming in, Zach Reese, okay, Zach Reese went to decision with Zach Reese. Okay, whoop-de-doo, but
Which again, he took a pretty good beating in that one.
Massive beating in that one. And then the Atiba Gudi, who I'm really super high on, just absolutely just hit this. We thought the chin was, this guy could take anything. No, try getting fucking hit with a sledgehammer right on your chin. You might wake up in the next fucking week, So yeah, he got knocked out there. He's coming in. I don't know what to expect. This guy, the durability's good. He's going to walk forward and eat a bunch of punches, and pretty much try to just stay alive long enough, maybe until you tire out, and then he can kind of keep going, and keep the cardio and keep going. That's pretty much his path to a victory, is just keep walking forward, take enough damage, and hopefully you tire out, and I'm able to just take over, and I'm able to just find something when you're super gassed and get lucky and put you away. That's how I see him winning any kind of fight. Yeah. And Dusko is just, Dusko is pretty dreadful. He's got no chin. There's no durability. His UFC wins are not the greatest. Yeah, but I'm not sure Medina really has the power to test his chin. I don't know. This is another one that's like, I don't know how to attack it. Does Trash Can Dusko able to get Medina out of there? I don't know. It's probably a Dusko decision. I would guess. But yeah, these are another two guys that I really don't want to put my money behind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, Dusko probably by decision.
Yeah, I think Dusko wins this one. I think he's got a better fight IQ, and the fact that he has wrestled a lot more in recent fights, and looking at Medina's takedown defense, it's not great. I think from a DFS perspective, I think Dusko may actually have a lot of upside, because if he does grapple here, he can land 2, 3, 4 takedowns, get some control time. And when he's on top, he does some pretty decent damage. The one thing with Dusko I don't like is his chin. I do think his defense is awful. He puts his chin in the air, and he can be cracked. But I've literally seen nothing from Medina that tells me that he's a guy that can crack his chin. So it's like, if it was anybody else, I would be over the moon with in this fight with Todorovic. But I think Dusko wins. I think he probably grapples. I think he is just a better mixed martial artist, and beats him up for 3 rounds. So I think there's upside in a DFS perspective because of the takedowns, and he could find a finish on the ground too. He gets him down, lands some ground and pound. Medina is just a guy he's just a tough guy. So, he could get subbed. He could get TKO'd on the ground. So I like Todorovic to win. I think he does have some upside. I don't ever like being super confident in a guy like him, just because, one shot could take
anything could happen. Like, this guy could accidentally throw something and it hits the chin, and next thing you know, Medina's got his first win. They're trying to set Medina up here for a win.
They want it. They want.
I think they like him.
Yeah.
I think for some reason I don't know what it is. Nick Maynard, Dana, Hunter, they like this guy. I don't know why, but I think they're giving him the lowest of the low to try to get him a win here.
This is probably it for him. You know, if he doesn't win this one,
well, he probably signed the 4-fight deal, right? So
yeah,
you might have one more, right?
Oh, maybe. But I mean, how you know those contracts are what they are. You cut a guy. I mean, we saw Rosenstruck get cut after a win.
No, that was his contract ran out. His contract ran out.
But still, I mean, coming off a win, like, yeah, they'll cut ties with guys, you know, out of the blue. But yeah, I mean, Medina. I mean, I guess, you know, he's probably still hovering around like the 20K to show, 20K to win. So, you know, maybe they give him another fight, but I don't know. I think if Todorovic comes in with a smart game plan and, you know, works some takedowns in and just kind of beats him up, it could be the last time we see Medina, but who knows? But yeah, I mean, I think Todorovic wins, and you know, hopefully, I'm probably going to play him in DFS, so hopefully, he does get those takedowns going. But yeah, that's it. All right, what do we got here? Interesting one here, actually. We got Alexander Hernandez taking on Diego Ferreira. Lightweight bout. Hernandez just, you know, stole my soul about, you know, 3 cards ago. I had Chase Hooper against him, and the fear was that first round KO, and he found the button and kind of ruined my night that night. Taking out Diego Ferreira here, who's, you know, he's an older guy, been around a while. You know, he's got good skills, good power, pretty good output most fights. Yeah, I mean, Hernandez, I don't know. I just, this guy's he's got skills. He's got it all, but you know, he's a bit flaky. But Ferreira here, he's older, you know, so it's a close one. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Hernandez making the quick turnaround here. You know, just absolutely devastated me and knocked out Chase Hooper. Was on Chase Hooper pretty big there. And yeah, I mean, he showed up. That's kind of what he does. He's kind of hit and miss. Kind of like you said, he's flaky. You know, one fight he'll look good, and then the next fight he'll gas out and look not as good. You know, so yeah, the cardio isn't great. I mean, the striking is good. The grappling is, I mean, I guess it's okay. It's not the greatest. Yeah, decent power in his hands, but you know, cardio has always been an issue with this guy going later, you know, into fights, and you know, I don't know. It's I kind of don't want to talk bad about the guy. The guy just stole all my money, so
right,
you know, yeah, you know, I mean, he's got good striking, good power in his hands, decent volume, but yeah, cardio always seemed to kind of let him down. You know, I was high on him coming in when he first came in, and then he kind of had a few disappointing performances, and you know, just gassed out, and he didn't look the greatest. And you know, but he has great performances too. You know, where he knocks out Beneil Dariush and does all. You know, he's got it in him. You know, he's got good power. But you know, Diego Ferreira, kind of an older guy. He was scheduled with the Bobby Green fight, I think, right?
Mm.
Yeah, he was scheduled to fight Bobby Green, and then Bobby Green pulled out, I think. Was that? Yeah. So, you know, he's been itching for a fight. You know, he's coming back. He's got good power in his hands. You know, decent striking, good volume. You know, offensive grappling is okay. Defensive grappling, the guys that always seem to kind of give him an issue is guys that could take him down and hold him down and kind of just utilize top control and kind of just weigh on them and make them work from the bottom. You know, but if it's, you know, I don't know if Hernandez can really present that problem with pretty much just wrestle fucking him for 3 rounds. I think, you know, I still don't trust the cardio of Hernandez. Yeah, you got a round 1 knockout, but what happens when that fight gets extended later? We don't know. You know, we still a big question mark there. Yeah, I like the striking and the output of Fajeda and the power here to be able to just outlast this guy and put it on him and kind of take over later on in the fight. We've seen him in the Rebecki fight. I mean, kind of started slow, and then once Rebecki started to kind of slow a little bit, he just was able to just put him on him and just beat the shit out of him. So I kind of see it similar. Just stay safe, mind your P's and Q's early because he does have power in that first round early. But later on, it gets. I think Ferreira is able to take over and win. So yeah, pick for me is Ferreira.
Yep, that's exactly where I'm at. I think Hernandez, he is always dangerous early in fights, but I'm not sold on his cardio. And he's coming off a good win. Obviously, gets a turnaround here, gets a nice little payday. Trying to take advantage of the momentum. But I think Ferreira just is going to be a roadblock. I think once the fight gets into the second and third round, Ferreira puts a little bit of a pace on him. Ferreira's a pretty durable guy too. I'm not really worried about him getting cracked early in this fight. And I think the longer it goes, the better it's going to look. And I think Ferreira is going to hopefully get me my money back that I lost on the Chase Hooper fight. That's where I'm going at with this one. All right. Next fight here. Interesting placement for this one on the card. We got Santiago Luna. He's making his debut. He is a Mexican fighter taking on Quang Lee here. We've seen Lee in the UFC. He's had some success, but still has some question marks. Luna has finished all of his fights on the regional scene. Not the highest of levels, but it is UFC Noche. He's going to have the crowd on his side here. But I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be enough. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this is an interesting one. Quang Lee, he's been in the UFC for a while. He's kind of had some kind of hit and miss performances. Put on a decent showing of himself in his debut against Gutierrez. Was able to actually win around and get some takedown and get some control time. And and then he was, then the next fight he didn't look too well. But in his last fight, I thought he looked pretty phenomenal. Looked really good. And I don't know. But I don't know what to make of these Chinese guys. But it's like, is he Chinese or I think he's something?
Yeah, I think he's Chinese.
He is? Yeah.
I believe
he's from
so.
Minnesota, I think. Yeah, but these Asian guys, he's from what I've seen, I mean, he seems he seems decent, a decent fighter, the striking's okay. I just kind of question the chin a little bit, but I think he's pretty decently well rounded. And then Luna, from what I've seen on the tape, I mean, another kid that looks pretty phenomenal on tape. He's a wrestle boxer. He's got power in his hands. He's got good wrestling. I mean, the kid looks like another one where I think they probably should have put him on Contender and let him come up like that, bring him up slow. But, they're throwing him right into the fire on the main card and on the Noche card, which is kind of weird. You're making, a debut against Quang Lee on the main card of a Noche card, but Tatiana Suarez is on the early prelims. I mean, I don't know.
Right.
But, yeah, this is kind of a tough one, man. I don't know if this is just maybe a little bit too soon for this kid, but I don't know, man. This is another one where he's smashing cans in Mexico, man. So it's kind of hard to get a really good read on him, The level of competition is just so low. I mean, he looks like he's doing what he needs to do in those fights. He looks like he has all the tools to be a good fighter, but he's young and, coming in here, a lot of pressure on the kid. I don't know. I think it just might be a little bit too soon. I think give me Quang Lee here. I like the dog here. And, just a tough one. I don't know. Maybe I might flip. I'm not sure. This is what I'm still on the fence on. I lean Quang Lee, but the placement of the fight, the atmosphere, the card, kind of just, I don't know. It gives me second thoughts to just all the way dive in and go all in on Wang Lee.
Yeah, I like Quang Lee here too. I mean, he's got the experience. It's tough making your debut. I know there's going to be some momentum for the Mexican fighter, but I think Quang Lee he likes to grapple. If he gets his grappling going, that can wear on the gas tank of somebody making their debut in a pretty high profile spot. I mean, the adrenaline's going to be up. So yeah, I don't know. I kind of just like to go with the experience here. I think Quang Lee gets it done, and Luna. A lot of his finishes are on the ground. I think he's got four submissions, two knockouts in his career. And a guy like Quang Lee, he likes to grapple, and I think he can keep himself in pretty good position on the ground. I don't really worry too much about the submission game. So yeah, I'm right there with you. I like Lee. I just think an experience thing. I mean, it's tough. It's tough making your debut. It's tough being in these big spots. You got a lot of pressure on you, and I think Lee gets it done here. And I actually just looked it up. He was born in Vietnam, so Vietnamese.
Yeah.
All right, moving right along. We've got a guy that we've seen for a long, long time, Kelvin Gastelum, taking on Dustin Stoltzfus here in a middleweight bout. Gastelum's a guy that, not always disciplined. Weight issues have been a problem in the past, but one thing you can't say about the guy is he's a bad fighter. He knows how to fight. He knows how to win fights. Coming off that fight with Pfeiffer, was a massive underdog in that one, and he showed up. He made a fight of it. Taking on Stoltzfus here, who, he's been around a while too. He's got some skills, but he's definitely got some holes in his game. What are your thoughts here? We think Kelvin comes in shape and ready to go, or is it going to be?
I don't know what to. I really don't. This card, I'm kind of on the fence in all these fights. Like, I don't know what to expect with this guy, with Kelvin Gastelum. The guy, his commitment doesn't seem to be there. Missing weight, making, like, where is his heart into this? And it seems like you kind of watching him. It just seems like just a big decline from that Izzy fight. He just doesn't seem like. Maybe he had a shot. I mean, he's in the Hall of Fame now, so now he's kind of just, whether it's for a fight or your individual performance, he's there. It's like, I don't know, where's his commitment at? Where's his heart at? He likes his heart is with food, actually, because the guy likes to eat. So I mean, the guy. I mean, he's got all the skills. We've seen kind of his durability start to wane a little bit. The ground game isn't the greatest. It's kind of been shaky for Kelvin over the last couple of fights. You know what I mean? But he has some. He's had some wins, but they weren't necessarily the greatest of performances. The D-Rod fight, I thought that fight sucked. He looked like shit in that fight. He got the win, but I mean, D-Rod looked like shit in that fight too. But he didn't even make weight in that fight. In the Piper fight, I thought he looked terrible in that fight. The Sean Brady fight just gets absolutely destroyed. The Chris Curtis fight, I don't think he looked specifically good in that fight. I don't know. It's been kind of hit or miss performances with Kelvin over these last few years, and it's not a really guy you want to I don't know. Is he a good fighter? Yes, but I just think his skills and his commitment are starting to kind of decline. And we got Stoltzfus. I pretty much counted this guy out, and then he comes out and then absolutely starches Marc-Andre Barrios, the guy that was known for his durability, he cracks
Mhm.
the chin and is able to put him away. I was never really a Stoltzfus guy. I think the chin is not the greatest, But I mean, like we said, he's shown power. The striking, I guess, is mediocre, okay. He does have grappling, so maybe he can get his grappling going here. But I don't know. This is another one where it's two guys that I'm not really too high on, but I think Kelvin probably gets the job done by decision.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. It's tough to really
It's a lot of
have
these
too much
fighters
to.
on this card. It's like you really like. It's tough to get really like behind them, to be honest,
Yeah,
in any of these
right.
fighters.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like coming off of last week, where it's just like you can never be overly confident going into a card, but like last week's card, the breakdowns were, after the card, it was spot on. Like we were right there, and it just seemed like easy money. This one, it doesn't. There's so many question marks, but at the same time, like if we wake up Sunday morning and say Kelvin Gastelum just did his thing, it's not going to be a shock. I mean, I think overall Kelvin Gastelum is a better fighter. I think
Oh yeah,
Kelvin.
Dustin Stoltzfus sucks.
Yeah, I don't think Stoltzfus is very good. I mean, the wins that he does have, obviously, yeah, the Barriel fight, okay, got him. Like impressive. But there's going back over the last few years, it's like, okay, he pulled a couple out that, he looked, pretty mediocre in, and maybe a guy faded and found a way to get it done. But yeah, I mean, Stoltzfus, he's not an easy out. He's been around for a little while for a reason. But overall, I mean, I think if Kelvin comes in, makes weight, and looks good, I just think he's the better fighter of the two, and I think more times than not he's winning this fight. So I like Kelvin here, and I think he gets it done. All right, next fight up here. This is a pretty interesting one here. Pretty good matchup. We got Rafa Garcia taking on Jared Gordon, lightweight bout. Rafa is a guy that he's got some pretty good grappling chops. He's landed quite a few takedowns in the UFC. Jared Gordon's been on a pretty nice run here. And going back to the Patty fight, most people think that he should have got his hand raised in that fight. He had the Bobby Green fight where it was pretty competitive early, and then they had the head clash, and ended up looked like Gordon got knocked out, but there was the head clash, and it ended up being a no contest. And he's shown some power in recent fights. He's finished 2 of the last 3 fights with KO TKO. So not something we've seen from him over the course of his career. He's always been kind of a guy that's gone 3 rounds. He's been competitive, puts up decent volume. But yeah, he's shown some power recently. So what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like what I've seen out of Jared Gordon. The Patty Pimblett fight was absolutely kind of robbed in that fight. I thought he probably won that fight. I think he won that fight. And then the headbutt knockout from Bobby Green was was a rough look, but it was just straight pure head clash. Bobby Green laid with his head like an idiot, and caught him on the chin and put him out. And then he had the Haparas fight where I was on Nasrat in that fight, and he put up I mean, I thought I lost that fight. I thought he did. He made it pretty competitive, and he looked pretty good in that fight, even though Haparas pulled out that split decision win. I thought you could have made an argument that he won that fight.
Yeah.
He looked really good in that fight. The striking looked crisp. It showed he was able to take a punch in that one. Because that was kind of the question on Gordon, was kind of his chin. But it's kind of that's kind of been cleared up a little bit. And yeah, in his last fight against Thiago Moises, absolutely, I mean, just runs right through him, starches him, puts him out, which was on him in that fight. And yeah, he looked good. So yeah, a lot of good performances, a lot of momentum on the Gordon side. Good, decent boxing, good power in his hands. He's got the wrestling if he needs it. He's pretty well-rounded guy. And Rafa kind of just, the striking's okay. He's low volume, good leg kicks. He can get the grappling going, but I don't know if he's going to be able to have any success in the grappling department here against Gordon. Gordon's a pretty good defensive grappler, pretty good takedown defense. So ultimately, I think this fight probably plays out on the feet. And yeah, from what I've seen from Gordon, the striking has really made a lot of improvements. And yeah, I mean, he's looked really good. So yeah, I just think Rafa's just is just a little too low volume, and I think Gordon puts the volume on him and probably wins the decision. But I wouldn't surprise me. We've seen that power from Gordon show up. So, but yeah, I like Gordon here to get the win. This is one that I'm pretty confident in. This is one fight that I really like. I like Gordon.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I agree. I like Gordon too, and Gordon's been a guy that I've had faith in the past. I've faded him a couple times. But yeah, I mean, he just keeps showing up, and he seems right now to be the best that he's been. So if that's the case, I feel like he gets it. I feel like he gets it done here. He has shown some power, and again, like I said, that's not something we've seen from him in the past, but I mean, he's last 2 out of the last 3 fights, he's found the button. So, he packs a punch. We know he can go 3 rounds and put up big volume and take punches. Yeah, I feel like momentum's on his side, and Rafa. I like Rafa. I've backed Rafa a lot in his career. He's a good fighter. I mean, he's tough. He's another guy that he's going to be there till the end. And he's got grappling. He can land takedowns, but again, I think Gordon's got the grappling chops to, even if he gets taken down, I think he finds a way back to his feet. It's not one of those. He's not a guy that's going to get taken down and held down, unless it's like a power wrestler. A power wrestler is going to have success against him, but I'm not sure Rafa's got that kind of a game. So yeah, I think I'm just going to ride the momentum here with Jared Gordon. I think going back to that Paddy fight, that's a fight that he could have won. A lot of the lightweight division would look a lot different if he did get his hand raised that night. He had the weird no contest with Bobby Green. Again, that's a fight where I was on Bobby Green in that fight, and
I was looking really good in that fight. He was looking really good in that fight.
It was, it was a weird one, and the head clash, and then boom, who knows? But yeah. So I don't know. I think Jared Gordon's a pretty good fighter. Got the momentum going right now. I like Rafa. I think it's Rafa is a tough out, but yeah, I think Gordon gets it done here. All right, that brings us to our co-main event. Got Rob Font. What's up?
Gotta use the bathroom real quick.
All right. Got Rob Font taking on David Martinez, bantamweight bout. Rob Font, he's a guy that's been around a long time. He's been basically in the top 5, top 10 of this division for a long time. Taking on Martinez here, who's a younger fighter. He's he's got some skills, but I don't know, man. It's tough. I think it just seems like Rob Font is the side here. He's got the experience. He's fought so many high-level guys. I just feel like he's got the overall skill to just get it done here. I don't know. It's a tough one because I kind of thought Rob Font was on the way out at one point, but he's kind of shown that he's still got the dog in him. So my pick here is going to be Rob. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this is an interesting late replacement. We're supposed to have Rob Font versus Raul Rosas. I mean, that would have been an interesting matchup. I don't know how that one would have went, but
Yeah,
Rosas pulls out and probably just takes him down and grapple fucks him. But yeah, and we got David Martinez stepping in here, and I'm pretty high on this kid. This kid's got some pretty decent striking. He's young. I think he can make a lot of improvements. I like the striking, and he's pretty fast, and he comes from like kind of like a MMA background. I think his parents were all involved in like karate and MMA and all that stuff. So he comes, and his sister's in the UFC as well. She's not very good, but I definitely think this kid, Martinez definitely has a lot of potential. And I see a lot in him, but this might be another one where it's maybe a little step up too soon. He hasn't really fought the best level of competition. And this is a big step up, I bet. And Rob Font, who, I would be worried. Martinez kind of had a grappling game. I would kind of worry a little bit more, but he really doesn't. I haven't seen him really use his grappling. He's kind of a karate striker, so that's kind of going to play into Rob Font's game. Rob Font always has problems with guys that can kind of take him down and hold him down. But people that let him stand up and let him work. He likes to uses that big jab. He pops that good jab, really good, crisp technical boxing, good volume. Kind of a dog. He's going to walk forward and he's gonna land that jab. He loves that jab. You know what I mean? And a lot of money's coming in on Martinez, which is interesting. Rob Font's down in like a now minus 130. He's kind of in a bettable range here, and I just think this is way too soon. Yeah, I like Rob Font here to just pop his jab off, pop his jab, and box his nose off. So yeah, give me Rob Font here to win a technical striking decision.
All right. So we're on the same page there. I just feel like it's just maybe a little bit too much too soon. All right, now we move on to the main event of the evening, and it is a good one. Got Diego Lopes taking on Gene Silva. We've seen the fighting nerds. There's been some kind of cracks in the foundation recently. A couple losses on the last card. This is a team that seemed unbeatable for a while. But Silva is a guy that, he's looked pretty incredible for his run in the UFC. Taking on Diego Lopes, another guy who's looked absolutely incredible. Coming off the loss to Volk in the title fight. But it's not the worst losses. Not the worst loss you can take. This one's interesting to me. I don't really have a strong take coming into this one. I'm kind of curious to see what you have to say about it. I like Diego Lopes a lot. I think he's got a very, very good overall game. But Gene Silva is just a junkyard dog, man, and he's got the power. Just overall, man, he's looked extremely dangerous. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, this is an interesting one. I kind of flip-flop back and forth earlier on in the week on this one and through the weekend. So I was thinking about it. So yeah, I mean, it's Lopes. I mean, he put out a pretty decent performance against Volk, if you ask me. I mean, he dropped Volk. He won the fourth round. He dropped Volk in the second round. I mean, he looked he looked decent, in that fight. He didn't look too terrible, but Volk is Volk, and he's gonna find a way against these kind of guys. And it's the striking is good. The offensive grappling and getting the takedowns, that's not really his thing. But I mean, he's got really good BJJ, but it's more of like a defensive kind of BJJ. He doesn't really offensively use his wrestling. He's kind of a guy that's more of a striker, kind of wants to he's kind of fell in love with his hands, and rightfully so. He's made a lot of improvements in that department where he's, we've seen him have big power and be able to put guys out, but yeah, he was on a run, and hold on, I got a package coming in. Hold on.
All right, so while Johnny's away, my big thought here is, I think overall Diego Lopes probably has the better game. I do worry a little bit because we've seen him get cracked a couple times. I mean, he's never, he's not a guy that seems chinny, but he has been hit. We've seen him kind of rocked a little bit in the past, and Gene Silva definitely has the power to hurt him, and that kind of scares me. But overall, I mean, I don't know. Over the course of a 5-round fight, I feel like the slight edge has to go to Lopes. He's got the experience in these fights. But yeah, Johnny, go ahead. Go back to
he had the good performance against Volk, and we've seen him have power in his hands. He starts guys, but the guys he starts really don't have a chin. Like Sadiq Youssef doesn't have a chin. He's put out some lower level guys, but the skills are there, the striking is there. He's a talented guy. He's got and he's coming off that championship fight, and Silva is kind of like, he's looked, like you said, incredible. Just that junkyard dog. He's got lights out. Like he's got the death touch in his hands. So anytime he can hit you and hurt you and put you away. We've seen the Bryce Mitchell. He was able to stuff Bryce Mitchell's takedowns and even submitted Bryce Mitchell himself. So he's pretty well rounded. And Fighting Nerds are not on the best of runs right now. They had a rough weekend last weekend. Does that maybe kind of affect him negatively here? Maybe him seeing his friends get beat kind of affects him, or does it motivate him to get the win? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's another mental thing that you got to think about here. But yeah, I love the striking of Silva, the combinations, rips the body, rips the head. But Lopes does kind of the same thing. He rips the body in. He changes levels pretty good. This is a tough one for me. I like Lopes, but I think eventually Silva has that death touch and is able to find that button and touch the chin of Lopes and put him away. I think Silva by knockout is how I'll be going in this one. But yeah. I thought about Lopes all week, man. I thought there's some value there that he could be live, but I don't know. I just think Gene Silva is just different, man.
It might be,
and I don't think Diego Lopes really has the power grappling to really test him. You know what I mean? But you never know. He could maybe grab him, get on his back, and put him in a tricky situation. I mean, you never know. Lopes's BJJ is really, really good. So, yeah. I mean, if it somehow gets to the ground and he can get in some transitions and put Silva in some dicey positions, I can see him winning, maybe locking something up like that. Maybe. So we haven't seen Silva in 5 rounds. So, the later it gets, maybe, he puts himself in a bad position and Lopes is able to take advantage. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
Yeah, the pick for me is going to be Silva and Silva by KO.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of had the same take. Like, I kind of want to roll with Diego because he does have that experience in the 5-round fight. But yeah, I mean, I do worry about the KO. I think Silva definitely has the power to hurt him. I think we've seen Diego get hit a few times that and he's weathered the storm, but it's a spot where he could get clipped, and Gene Silva it takes advantage. So I'll ride with you here. I'll roll with Gene Silva. We'll be live for this one. So if it does get into the later rounds and it does look like Silva maybe fading a little bit, may have a live ticket on Lopes. But yeah, I do. Man, it's tough. It's tough to really sit here and pick a side, but I'll roll with you. I'm gonna roll with Silva here. I just think he's got that kind of it factor, and maybe exactly. He just
Let's go.
so yeah, I think he might be able to crack Lopez chin. And yeah, I think overall, I think his grappling might be good enough. He stuff some takedowns, um, make it a
I don't see
scramble.
Diego really shooting takedowns though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, we haven't really seen that. He's got that game. I mean, he is a good grappler, but we have not seen that in his fights. So, um, yeah, I think it's going to be a close fight. Pretty back and forth, but. Well, I guess when the rubber hits the road, we'll take the shot on Gene Silva to land a big one. So yeah, Gene Silva for both of us, and that's it. And like I said at the beginning of the show, we've got a lot going on this weekend. Obviously, we've got the game tomorrow, Thursday night football. The boys will be live for that one. I might pop in for that one. We got the Xfinity race as well. So we'll have a lot going on there. We've got a race on Friday night, and then we've got the NASCAR race this weekend, along with college football and NFL. So we will be. This channel is probably going to be live, basically a majority from tomorrow night through Sunday evening and Monday night. So a lot going on. Tune in, nukethehouse.com. The new page is NTH Sports Picks on YouTube. So give that a subscribe, give us a like, give all our videos a like, follow along. And yeah, I mean, we do great work here. So tune in and win some money with us. That's really all I can say. Johnny, if you got anything else, let us know. And
No,
otherwise,
that's
we'll
it.
get out of here. All right.
That's it.
So again, tune in tomorrow night. We will be live for the football game, for the NASCAR race. We've got boxing this weekend. We've got UFC this weekend, college football, NFL. Yeah. Tune in, cash some tickets. And until next time, good luck this weekend. We're out.